First of all, I'll ask, do you regret selling? Do you wish you still owned Yoyodyne today?
Oh, not at all. I don't wish I owned it. The fact is, my timing was good in that I didn't sell it after the bubble burst. Yoyodyne was one of the first internet companies, and we invented email marketing before the World Wide Web even existed. If we had waited 6 months or 9 months, would I have made more money? Of course. But who knows what would have happened in that intermediate time anyway, right? What I did after I sold the company was I spent a year in a room by myself, basically with my puppy, with the luxury of saying, how do I want to spend the next bunch of years of my life? Because what I have earned, in addition to enough money in the bank that I don't have to worry about going bankrupt, is the benefit of the doubt. That when I showed up at a book publisher, they would trust me. When I showed up with a new project, people would trust me. What are you going to do with that trust that you've just received? And if I'd been running Yoyodyne after I sold it, I would have been working for the business instead of the business working for me. And what happened when I sold it, I got to Yahoo. Yahoo was at the peak of Yahoo-ness. It was, basically Florence during the Renaissance. And I was surrounded by arrogant people who didn't understand what they didn't know and who were sure that their luck was based on skill. And I realized that spending my days with that crowd of people wasn't going to make my life better, wasn't going to make my family better. And so I have put together a career after that filled with lots of highlights and plenty of failures that wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't sold that.
And part of that is the trust that you built, that when you show up as the founder and exited founder of Yoyodyne, the first internet company, you immediately have gravitas and trust with investors and customers and people and the stakeholders. One of the things that I've heard entrepreneurs can struggle with during their own year by themselves with their puppy, that transition year, is kind of sophomore syndrome. I think it's referred to as sophomore syndrome, but this concept of, I've had a success. Now, how do I kind of do better next time? You know what I mean? Like if I...
Yes, that's a great point. So this is one of the luckiest career things that happened to me, which is 2 months after I sold, the phone rang and it was Bill Gross. Bill Gross, for those of you who don't know it, has started many, many companies. One of the things he invented was what eventually became the way ads work on Google, the whole auction for slots. So that is a $1 trillion invention, give or take. And he was putting together Idea Lab to go public. Steven Spielberg was on the board. He offered me $1 billion in stock options to join the company as the head of marketing. And I turned him down. One of the best things that ever could have happened. And I wish he had successfully gone public and I would have given up $1 billion. It turned out he mistimed the bubble and didn't. But it doesn't matter. Because once you've given up $1 billion, then you're understanding what the point is. That I have not one day since I sold my company tried to build a company that was more profitable or had more equity value than Yoyodyne. Why would I want to do that? I only get this life once. That's not my job. My job is to make a difference for people. My job is to be a teacher. My job is to turn on lights. My job is to make connections for people to do their best work. But for me to say, oh, now I have a way to make this much money, that made absolutely no sense. Money is a false proxy. That what we know from all the data is once you have enough, and it's not that much, more money doesn't make you happier.